That's one of the cool things that I really love about you in the role is that, in prior iterations of our company, when we had somebody in operations, they weren't really an experienced agent.
Right.
So they kind of lost touch. They didn't do production. Yep. They kind of lost touch of what it's like to go through a real estate transaction. And I even preach this to team leaders, and I still do this myself. Team leaders and people that own brokerages need to do a deal here and there because they need to get in the trenches. They need to show their people they're willing to do it, but it keeps them familiar with things. It keeps them up to date. It reminds them of things that are changing in the industry. Yeah, for sure.
You're in sales. You never get rid of that.
Right.
You always have to feel like
100%. And I think you having that experience and still working with customers, still being, a productive agent for us, off-market opportunities. We also talked about what we're looking for with agents, like how we can provide an opportunity for agents because of the uniqueness of our brand. But I saw a stat recently, and I think this is another reason we excel. And the stat was that home sale cancellations were the highest it ever been. And I get why. I mean, it's pretty simple to explain why. The higher rates, prices haven't come down that much. So taxes have gone up, insurance has gone up. So there's more economic pressure, right? So the customer is more afraid, right?
Correct.
They have fear. We had hurricanes, right? So our market just has a lot of tenseness to it. When you have that tenseness in the marketplace, it causes consumers to not necessarily always act logically and more act emotionally or irrationally, and cancel deals out of fear where maybe they should buy the house, where maybe those repairs just need to be explained better because they're not something you should kill a deal over, and what ends up happening, a lot of the cancellations, in my opinion, are done mistakenly. Of course, there are times where we're representing a client and we need to get them out of the deal. There's structural damage. The place is infested with termites that can't be cured. There's wood rot everywhere. The roof is shot and the seller won't take care of it. Foundational issues. There's, like Chinese drywall we had back in the day, like mold. Like there are reasons why you should get a client out. But most of the cancellations that I see are a mistake.
Sometimes they're petty.
They're super petty, and ego gets in the way. Yep. And here's what happens: the ego gets in the way, and they want a perfect house. Unfortunately, they want a perfect house because they've been trained that they can click a button and filter everything on social media, make them look perfect. I mean, I meet a lot of people today that I don't recognize from social media. It's like, you're not the same person.
Did you look at my profile?
It's like I don't know who you are. Like, who are you? You look nothing like on Facebook. It's prevalent.
Just want my beard darker.
So again, society has we've got this AI filter layer over society. And this social gratification where there are people who will literally post something on social media, and if it doesn't get enough likes or comments, they will delete it.
Yeah, delete it, redo it again with a new filter.
So my point is the consumer buying the property wants that inspection report, and when they open up that inspection report, what they want it to be is they want rainbows and sunshine and unicorns and fairy tales, and they want to be able to press a button and filter that inspection report, and it just doesn't work that way.
Yep.
And when they read that inspection report, they think the house that they're buying is trash. They think it's horrible. When in reality, if you translate it out, maybe you run it through AI, or you talk to your agent and they explain, and then the agent lets you talk to the inspector or a contractor, and you figure out what the cost to cure those items is. Most of the time, the dollar amount to cure those items is less than what it's going to end up costing them to go back out, spend another inspection, potentially another appraisal, the time, energy, and effort to find another house, and then the potential that either rates could be higher or they may not get as good of a deal. And now you're dealing with your second choice and not your first one.
Correct.
People, they act irrationally and logically, and that is really common right now. So on our team, we obviously have the transaction coordinators to help navigate through that are experienced at doing what they can to try and help customers get through the transaction, kind of coach them on experience. Of course, the agents are still there too, but that extra layer of support helps customers get the data and the information they need.
It does. It's nice having the buyer agents that I happen to work with right now. They always come to us for advice, and there's so many ways to say for skin a cat. We've had people wanting to cancel with our buyer's agents for little things. I mean, things that honestly, it could be fixed for, a couple $100s. And that's it. And that's their dream home. They want to be in Old Northeast in St. Pete. But, oh no, it's an older bungalow style home. Yeah, well, of course it's going to have those little bit of issues.
Every house
has something.
The only house I've ever seen that doesn't have that has a clean inspection report is the one that isn't built yet.
That's so true. Yeah, because we've done new construction.
There's issues.
There's issues there too.
Yeah,
it's
always
nothing. There's no perfect home.
No, even in an unlimited budget, there's going to be mistakes. It's a man-made product. And so simply, like you said, how to navigate through that, right? Like an agent obviously can help, but then again, the support staff that's done hundreds and hundreds of transactions that has navigated through these scenarios that can help resolve problems, our cancellation rate isn't as high because we're helping customers make better choices. But again, we see it all the time. Mathematically, it does not make financial sense for them to cancel the house. And man, one of the things I still remember about the Great Recession was how many customers I saw that irrationally canceled transactions and raised their price by 30, 40% because they wanted a clean inspection report that they weren't going to get even on that higher price. Going from back then, going from 200 to 300, there's still going to be stuff, and going from 300 to 400, 405, there's still going to be stuff wrong. We've seen it all. You almost have to see the inspection report as like the blueprint for what you need to do in your first year of ownership.
Right. I look at it as like, unless it's a major component item, it's just maintenance items.
Yep.
Those are things you're going to take care of. The same thing, you buy a used car.
Yep.
You're going to have to do maintenance.
You're going to change the oil.
Yeah.
You're going to have to put new tires on.
Brake pads.
Or if they're a car person like you and I, maybe need to do PPF.
Right.
Maybe you need to
take care of that paint.
Coat maybe you need to ceramic coat it. Maybe it needs a tune. Maybe it needs downpipes.
And sometimes these analogies help.
But no, the reality is that so many customers make that mistake and they kill a deal.
They do.
And then they end up overspending. They go to the second or the third house, and they finally give up and settle on the third house when it wasn't really the one that they wanted in the first place, that they should have just found a way to make the first one work. The other thing that I see that I think, again, kind of going back to that same mistake, I taught a class, but I brought this up in our meeting this week. There are ways a really good real estate agent can help the customer get all of the information that they need to make the right choice. I talked about that this week. In commercial real estate, all the due diligence is done up front.
Correct.
In residential real estate, it's ass backwards. Like you're literally like doing stuff, and then it's like 3 days before the closing, you're getting insurance and the appraisal. It's like,
why?
What?
Why are we waiting that long?
So I'm a big proponent of getting the inspection, the appraisal, and the insurance all done during the inspection period. And some people might say, well, but now you're going to have them spend on the inspection. Well, what if spend on the appraisal? What if the inspection was so bad that? What if they had $30,000 in equity? Is the inspection really bad now? You're making choices when you don't have all the data. Like as a business person, I don't want to make decisions without all the information. I want all the information. If I'm buying a house, and let's say there's $5,000 to $10,000 in repairs on a $500,000 house, which isn't that uncommon, it's probably a little high. But then I find out that my $500,000 house appraised at $540,000. I'm probably a little less concerned about the $10,000 in repairs I have to make because I got a really good deal on the house.
Walking in equity.
But then you don't ever find that out if you wait till the end to do the appraisal, or you wait to do to insurance, and then the insurance says, we need something else. Or we need this, or we need this done. Right. And then you got to go back to the seller. You know how many times deals cancel because the seller gets frustrated about how many times the buyer goes back to them? They want something done at inspection. Then they want something done at appraisal. And then, wait, guess what? We got some insurance issue. Do it all up front. I coach our agents to do all the contingencies cleared as soon as you can. Yep. And that will provide for a smoother process. Now, there are times where that doesn't make sense for the customer, where maybe they're intending on renegotiating, or they believe there's a fatal flaw with the house, or they believe they're getting a good enough deal so they don't need it. But for the most part, I'm a firm believer that when I sell my real estate, I sell homes that I own every month. Like we're constantly buying homes directly from customers that we're renovating in our fund and then reselling for a profit. And when I'm selling my real estate, that's what I'm doing. I'm saying, no, I want all of this information up front. I don't want to have to renegotiate with you 3 times. I want it all cleared and out of the way. The other thing is it creates less anxiety for the seller. The seller's making choices once. Then there's not this thing at the end where they could get a rug pull.
Right. It could fall apart on them.
It could still fall apart, but you're doing what you can to try and prevent it from falling apart. So I'm a big proponent of all that stuff getting done up front.
Yep. Financing contingency is the same thing. Get it closer to, not wait till the end. I see that too.
Yep.
With agents.
Get it out of the way. And again, you want to protect your customer. And again, when you're negotiating on behalf of the buyer or negotiating on behalf of the seller, your strategy is obviously going to depend on who you're working with. But in my opinion, I believe it's a better way. I believe it helps bulletproof real estate transactions. And then it gives all the parties all of the information. Yep. Because I see people cancel deals over a few $1,000s in repairs and they were getting a killer deal. That if they would have known it was going to appraise, 5 or 10% above that price, would they have killed the deal over a couple thousand in repairs if the appraisal came back above their negotiated price, right?
Probably not.
And similarly, insurance. You have something happen towards the end where they need something extra with insurance, or insurance costs more. Like we've had buyers walk when they find out at the end that their mortgage lender, now they didn't go to citywidetampa.com for this one, but their mortgage lender misquoted them on insurance, and they believed the mortgage lender's quote on insurance. So they get to the end and they found out, oh, the insurance isn't $2,000, it's $4,000. And now their escrow is at risk because their financing contingencies expired and they want to blow up the deal and they might lose their $5,000 in escrow. Like, all the while, if they would have done it up front and got it done during the due diligence period, they had an out. Again, that's my belief in a smoother real estate transactions, better for all parties, is forgetting about how the norm may be and doing what makes more logical sense.
Right. So
that's something that we encourage. Again, it's still the customer's choice. We're just making a recommendation. We're explaining the pros and the cons. But if I'm buying real estate or I'm selling real estate, I would rather have all the information before I make all those decisions. Like, am I going to make a whole bunch of repairs and then get beat up on the appraisal too? No.
Do that.
Especially if the repairs aren't something that are really a big deal or that aren't 4-point, where the next buyer can buy the house and maybe that buyer doesn't even care about those things, So it's like, you're going to have me jump through these hoops. Let's do it once. Let's dance once.